Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato, and today we're going to be talking about and fighting against Zionist propaganda and talking about really where this propaganda originates from and why some of the Zionist allies should not be their allies. And so we're going to start off with a Twitter post by Jake Shields, who has been a strong supporter of the anti-Zionist movement. And he says that the Israeli military chief rabbi says it's okay for the IDF to rape as long as it's a non-Jew. And this is found in their Talmud. This is something that religiously they say they are allowed to do because they don't consider non-Jews to be human beings. And so we see this is in a Reuters article. The Israeli military chief rabbi designate under fire over remarks on rape. Israel's military has nominated a new chief rabbi who seemed to imply in a past religious commentary that soldiers are allowed to rape non-Jewish women in wartime. So that's what these people think. And we can read more about this by Keith Woods, who's saying the new atheist movement devoted a lot of attention to passages in the Quran and the Bible that justify violence, but I never heard any of them mention passages like this in the Talmud. So Talmud, that is considered to be the oral word of God. And that is something that was written by the rabbis who are descendants of the Pharisees. And this is something that was said in the Sanhedrin, in the Talmud. The Gemara challenges, but wherever there is liability for capital punishment, this Tana teaches it, as it is taught in the first clause, with regard to bloodshed, if a Gentile murders another Gentile, or a Gentile murders a Jew, he is liable. If a Jew murders a Gentile, remember, a Gentile is any person that is non-Jewish. If a Jew murders a Gentile, he is exempt. Evidently, the term liable is used in the Baraita. So what they're saying here is that if a Jewish person transgresses hostile in any way, shape, or form to a non-Jewish person, they are not supposed to be held accountable for that. They are allowed to do that because they don't see non-Jewish people as having souls. They don't see them as being humans. They see them as animals, as cattle. And so this is the type of language that you see that is strongly influential to the Zionist. And so we could see more of that here, where I try to convey to Christian Zionists I know that they should not be pro-Zionism because this is what the Zionists actually think of you. So let's see here. Okay, so we're going to watch this video.
Israel should make the Gaza Strip a parking lot by this time next week.
Just ridiculous. This is Christian Zionist pastor Greg Locke calls for Israel to genocide Gaza and get a great big missile and blow that wicked dome of the rock plumb off the spot where it's standing right now so we could get the third temple rebuilt and usher in the coming of Jesus. Okay. This person is a Christian Zionist who is espousing genocidal rhetoric. And if you know anything about biblical prophecies, this type of rhetoric brings back the Antichrist, which Christ will be in response to. Okay, so these people are literally an Antichrist force. They are supporting the Antichrist, and that is the Zionists. And it's just ridiculous. They're talking about wiping out the entire Palestinian population. Let's continue on.
Destroy the whole thing.
Do you hear that? Destroy the whole thing. This person is a Christian, supposed Christian, and they are talking about wiping out all of Palestine, all the Palestinian people, millions of people.
And anybody that's going to support this Hamas nonsense. Listen, Joe Biden ought to be tried for treason. You understand that? Now, I get it. Obama's the real president behind him anyhow, and so he's the one that ought to be tried for treason.
This seems like a parody. It's so bad, it seems like a parody, but I will tell you, I know Christian Zionists who actually think like this. So far, well, I should say the most strongly, ardently Christian Zionists, some of them have been persuaded eventually, but like the vast majority have not. The people who are only loosely Christian Zionists, like Christian Zionist sympathizing, they've been more persuaded, and I think that makes up the majority of people. But this group right here is, I would say, insane. They're literally just espousing genocide right now, but let's listen on.
So I hope Netanyahu's a leader and he just mows the whole thing down by this time next week. If you think all this open border stuff is not an opportunity for a bunch of Hamas sleeper cells to come into this nation right now and start killing innocent men, women, and children, you've lost your mind.
Okay, so one thing to point out, and this has been trending on, I believe it was TikTok, the reason Israel is giving for them being allowed to massacre the entire Palestinian population, the reason they're giving, and I obviously disagree with, is they're saying that the Gazan population voted for Hamas, which was, I believe, in 2006. And since half of the population is under the age of 18, that means the vast majority, nearly everyone, did not get to vote in that election because most people were too young to vote at the time. But Israel is stating they are allowed to wipe out everyone because the population of that country voted for Hamas. Okay? So understand where that genocidal rhetoric leads whenever you have people like this in America and people voting for pro-Zionist politicians. Okay? You can't say that for the other side. You could just wipe out everyone who votes for something. You can't say that for the other side and not have it apply to you as well. So very concerning. We don't want that type of collective punishment to be allowed. But what he is espousing here, what Israel is espousing, it's collective punishment, where everyone who voted or potentially could vote is held responsible for what someone does. Okay? That's should be scary to any Americans, considering the presidents and the actions of the American government throughout the world.
Think of all these Christians saying we ought to have peace with Islam. Islam is a satanic death cult, and they would touch your...
It's hilarious. He says it's a satanic death cult while he's trying to get the third temple built, which would bring about the Antichrist, which would bring Christ back to fight the Antichrist. So when we're talking about satanic death cults, he's literally working to promote the Antichrist right now. I don't get the decoupling there in these people's mind, but that's how it is. And we're going to talk about in a second. Well, actually, I might have to put in another video at this point, but in another video, I will talk about how ridiculous this is, because the Zionists, the Jewish Zionists, really hate Christians. They really hate Christians. I've talked about this in other videos, and I have another video planned for it. But they genuinely despise Christians. I talked about the study that came out where American Jewish people, the people they hate the most is evangelical Christians, and evangelical Christians, the people they love the most are the American Jewish people. So this person right here, this Christian Zionist pastor, Greg Locke, he's supporting people who absolutely despise him. And he's doing it in order to bring about the Antichrist. And he's a pastor. So, wild.
Head off before I said amen in this sermon if they had a chance to. The Muslim religion hates Jewish people to the core of who they are.
Okay, so just to refute this, there were Christians, Muslims, and Jews living in Palestine before Israel committed the Nakba and took over the territory. They lived peacefully. In fact, if you look, the refugees from Europe, because of World War II, they fled to Palestine, and they had signs on the boats saying, "Germany destroyed our homes, don't you destroy our hopes," okay? And people who came in and wanted Palestinian passports, they had to pledge loyalty to the Palestinian state. So these people came in, fake pledged loyalty to the Palestinian state, overthrew Palestine, and are now trying to wipe out the Palestinian population. So, just ridiculous to say that Islam hates Jewish people, because if you're looking at the available evidence, it seems to be the Jewish people that hates Islam and Christians, because they're attacking various Christian factions within Palestine as well, and they spit on them if Christians go to Israel. So just ridiculous stuff out there.
What they ought to do is evacuate up there on the hill and get a great big missile and blow that wicked dome of the rock plumb off of the spot where it's standing right now, so we can get that third temple rebuilt and usher in the coming of Jesus.
I don't understand how they know so little about the Bible that they don't understand that Jesus comes in response to the Antichrist. So, do they not understand that by trying to accelerate Jesus coming back, they initially have to accelerate the Antichrist coming for Jesus to respond to the Antichrist. I don't understand. Please, someone in the comment section, if you're a Christian Zionist, explain this to me. I've had a ton of Christian Zionists try to explain this to me, and it's never been a satisfactory explanation.
That video of that woman that survived the Holocaust in a wheelchair, they snatched her up. Kidnapped a Holocaust survivor by somebody with American dollars in their pocket from a corrupt government that should have been smoked out months ago when they stole the election to begin with. Yes, I said it.
Christian Zionists, I don't understand you. It's the frustrating thing is when I was in America, it was very hard to find any churches that weren't Christian Zionists. I mean, at the end of the day, I just ended up going to Christian Zionist churches because everyone believes in Zionism in American, well, I don't want to say everyone. In evangelical Protestant churches, the vast majority do believe in Christian Zionism. And it's just unfortunate to say because of what it means for the end times, what it means for people around the world who are suffering because of the Zionists. I hope there's at least some Christian Zionists who watch this video and who are persuaded by this video and other videos I have on this channel, because I'm really making a lot of content around Christian Zionism right now, because it's so important that Christian Zionists quit being Christian Zionists and just be Christians, because being Christian Zionist goes against Christianity. That's something that I hope to emphasize on this channel. It is the antithesis of Christianity. So please, 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 if you're not persuaded by this, please tell me what type of evidence you need to be persuaded by this, because Christian Zionism is a plague. You are supporting a genocidal, psychopathic group in Zionism. So that's what I'll leave you with today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube and Rumble for more content. Please leave us a comment in the comment box below. Questions, concerns, critiques, I read all of them. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.